The Great Gatsby is one of those rare novels that feels predetermined, as if every scene is quietly steering the characters toward a fate they cannot escape. Its world glitters, champagne, jazz, wealth, but beneath the sparkle lies a kind of spiritual exhaustion unique to post-World War I America. And behind this fatal shimmering world is the delicate pretty boy who wrote it, F. Scott Fitzgerald. Blue-eyed, boyish, charming, and deeply insecure. Fitzgerald, the beautiful outsider. People who met Fitzgerald noticed the same two things, his pretty, almost fragile appearance and his considerate, eager-to-please personality. His prose reflects that sensitivity. It's vivid, sensory, and alive. Modern in subject, yet old-fashioned in style. He adored John Keats, and the novel's lyrical, almost musical sentences reveal that devotion. He and Zelda were practically inventing the jazz age as they lived it. Champagne, flappers, glitter, excess. But beneath the sparkle, he obsessed over rich girls who were out of reach. Zelda broke off their engagement because he had no money. Only after his first novel became a hit did she marry him. He spent the rest of his life chasing secular success and performing wealth. He had a lifelong obsession with breeding and social status. In other words, everything Gatsby feels. Fitzgerald felt it first. And Fitzgerald didn't just write beautifully, he designed beautifully. The novel itself is built with architectural precision. Gatsby and Daisy's reunion is placed at the exact structural midpoint of the book, as if the entire story is orbiting around that one impossible hope. 1920s. America, Hedonism and Emptiness. Gatsby was published in 1925, in the middle of one of America's greatest economic booms. This was a culture obsessed with the American dream, the idea that even a poor immigrant can succeed with hard work. The self-made man, Benjamin Franklin style, money, speed, and novelty. We get jazz, speakeasies, flappers, alcohol despite prohibition, parties for no reason, pleasure without meaning. And yet, the novel is quietly moral. It shows a world where God is absent. No one in the book really behaves religiously. Instead, the closest thing to a deity is the enormous eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg, staring over the desolate valley of ashes. God has been replaced by advertising. In this spiritual desert, money is the new God. The Valley of Ashes becomes a microcosm of America, a land that was meant to be an American Eden but has become a polluted wasteland filled with foul dust. Nick. Within and without a guide into this world is Nick Carraway, a narrator who has, in many ways, been carried away by Gatsby. He is Daisy's cousin, a bond salesman, and a Midwesterner displaced in the East. From the very start, he talks about his family pedigree, which silently tells us this is a class novel. Who your parents are matters. He prides himself on withholding judgment, yet he constantly judges. Nick is torn between two Americas, the Midwest, Minnesota, real snow, the wholesome pastoral innocence of his childhood, and New York, fast-paced, artificial, glamorous, spiritually dead. He condemns the East's superficiality but cannot leave it. He dislikes Jordan's dishonesty, but is drawn to her cool detachment. He's repelled by the decadence, yet fascinated by it. Nick's famous line captures him perfectly. I was within and without, simultaneously enchanted and repelled by the inexhaustible variety of life. He is always in between, West and East, innocence and decadence, past and present. Binaries the novel constantly destabilizes. Gatsby. Self-Invention and Sacred Dream. Now Gatsby. Gatsby is both extraordinarily simple and impossibly complex. On the surface he is, involved in bootlegging and shady business through Wolfsheim, lying about his education and origins, swearing to God while telling obvious lies. He says he's the son of rich people in the Midwest. Nick asks, which part, Gatsby? San Francisco. Which is not the Midwest. So, on one level, Gatsby is a phony, a criminal, a social climber. But he's also something much rarer. Born James Gatz, a penniless young man without a past, he renames himself at 17, inventing what Nick calls a platonic conception of himself, an ideal image of who he wants to be. He is, in that sense, the perfect self-made man, a living embodiment of the American dream. And this is the paradox. Gatsby is both romantic knight and product of modern corruption. He is the old-fashioned lover who will take the blame for Daisy's killing of Myrtle, like a chivalric knight protecting his lady, but also the creation of a world built on money, organized crime, and capitalist exploitation. The novel romanticizes Gatsby, but in doing so, it also romanticizes the system that produced his corruption. His romantic readiness, his extraordinary gift for hope, functions like spiritual armor, but it also ensures he cannot survive the speed, vulgarity, and rootlessness of the 1920s. Gatsby dreams on a medieval scale, but he lives in a world built on neon lights and gangster money. Daisy. Money. Music. Emptiness. Daisy is the most beautiful illusion in the book. Her name is floral, light. Her voice, soft, low, musical, is described so vividly that it becomes the novel's most powerful sensory symbol. And ultimately, Nick tells us it is full of money. Her famous line after having her daughter captures her worldview. "I hope she'll be a fool. That's the best thing a girl can be in this world." It's witty, tragic, and revealing. She's basically saying, in a world of cheating husbands like Tom, ignorance is a survival strategy. But Daisy is also shallow, easily bored, careless, morally cowardly. She kills Myrtle with Gatsby's yellow car doesn't stop and lets Gatsby take the blame. Then she retreats into her rich, full life, shielded by class privilege. Her whiteness and her beautiful white girlhood in Louisville suggest an idyllic virginal past. But in the present, that whiteness functions more like a mask that covers moral rot. For Gatsby, Daisy becomes less a person and more a symbol of class, of beauty, of his own perfected self. And that is his doom. His dream is too large for the fragile human being meant to contain it. Tom, Jordan, Myrtle. The rest of the rotten crowd. Tom Buchanan is old money, brute strength, and white supremacy rolled into one. He reads racist pseudoscience, worries that the white race will be submerged, and pretends he's defending civilization, while cheating on his wife and smashing up lives. He calls Gatsby Mr. Nobody from nowhere. He mocks Gatsby's pink suit, as if good taste and lineage are the true markers of worth. Tom embodies old money's entitlement and fear during an era of immigration and shifting hierarchies. Jordan Baker has a name made of brand labels: Jordan Car, Baker Electronics. She's literally a commodity. She's described as jaunty, dishonest, always balancing. She cheats in golf, moves through life with cool detachment, and is always trying to place herself just a little higher on the social ladder. She's not quite high society, but she performs like she is. Myrtle Wilson is vitality and desperation. She tries to perform being upper class, the dress, the apartment, the attitude, all financed by Tom's money. She first notices Tom's dress suit and patent leather shoes. She falls in love with his commodities before the man. She is killed by the very symbol of modernity and speed, the automobile. Together they expose the moral bankruptcy underlying the era, the spiritual poverty behind all the glitter. Symbols: floating, drifting, drowning. The novel is obsessed with restlessness and floating images. People are restless, buoyed up, drifting. Daisy and Jordan are described as if they're floating on a kind of anchored balloon. East Egg versus West Egg are separated by water. Cars, boats, and water imagery dominate. Everything is in motion, nothing rooted. This is modernity. No fixed values, no solid ground. East Egg represents old money, tradition, Europe. West Egg is America's youth, flashy, new, historically shallow. Gatsby tries to fake history. He imports carved English oak for his library, buys unread books, tries to look like he has a lineage. But he cannot escape the newness of his wealth. Everyone in this world is drifting. No one is grounded. The green light, America's unreachable ideal. The green light begins as Daisy's dock light, but becomes the novel's spiritual centre. For Gatsby, it is never just a light. It expands into a constellation of desires. Daisy herself, hope, the future, America, a holy guiding vision, and the untouched continent imagined by the first European settlers. When Nick first sees Gatsby reaching toward it, trembling like a worshipper, the moment feels sacred. But the tragedy is that no human being, least of all Daisy, can bear the weight of Gatsby's longing. She is too fleeting, too inconsistent, too human to embody the vast dream Gatsby projects onto her. His dream was always larger than the small, ordinary life it tried to inhabit. Nick imagines early explorers seeing America as a kind of untouched Eden, virgin land, earthly paradise, before it was exploited, polluted, colonized, and finally into a capitalist playground. That wound is America's original story, and Gatsby reenacts that first historical gesture, reaching for a purity that has already been destroyed. When Nick says, "You can't repeat the past," Gatsby is baffled. Can't repeat the past? Why, of course you can. Yet, what he wants is not simply to repeat, but to erase. To delete the years in which Daisy loved Tom, to undo his own poverty, to start again at the perfect point. That's not just romantic, it's impossible. The breaking point, the hottest day of summer. Chapter 7 contains the novel's collapse, the hottest day of summer, the emotional breaking point. Tom exposes Gatsby. Gatsby insists Daisy never loved Tom. Daisy admits she loved them both. Gatsby's perfect illusion collapses. Driving home, Daisy, not Gatsby, hits Myrtle and keeps going. Gatsby prepares to take the blame. For Nick, this is the moment he recognizes the dream is already dead. Gatsby paid a high price for living too long with a single dream. Wilson later kills Gatsby, then himself. Nick calls it a holocaust, the sacrificial victim of the American dream. Aftermath, careless people. In the end, only Nick really stands by Gatsby. Tom and Daisy retreat, back into their money and their vast carelessness, letting others clean up the mess they had made. The moth-like partygoers vanish. Wolfsheim sends excuses. Only Nick, Owl Eyes, a few servants, and Gatsby's father come to the funeral. The society that consumed Gatsby's generosity has no use for him once he is no longer entertaining. Why Gatsby is great. So why the title? You can read Gatsby as a fraud, criminal, a social climber, or as a hopeless romantic, almost saint-like in his devotion to an ideal. The text, and Nick, refuses to choose. Gatsby is great not because he's virtuous, but because his capacity for longing is so large. He dreams beyond history, beyond his own origins, beyond what the world can hold. He is America's uncorrupted past and its corrupted present, the self-made man and the victim of the very system that created him. Both the pristine dream and the exploitation that ruins it, Gatsby contains America's contradictions. Its beauty, its ambition, its blindness. Ending. Boats against the current. The novel closes with one of the most famous sentences in American literature. Gatsby believed in the green light, the orgastic future that year by year recedes before us. So we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. We move forward, faster, farther, but our longing pulls us backward toward a lost innocence, a vanished Eden, a purity that never truly existed in the first place. Gatsby is that longing in human form, hopeful, deluded, beautiful, doomed. He is both the dream and the proof that the dream in this world cannot last. And that's why, after all the lies, all the fraud, and all the glitter, he is still somehow the great Gatsby.